Okay, first we discuss about the rule of the course. Okay, so our course will be done online, online. So this is the rule, This is basically the same for 2A and 2B for 4 credit and 3 credits. So the class attendance, so you have to attend the lecture 80% sharp. If you have below this 80%, you will get E. So we have basically around 30 lecture, I think, So 80% is about, 20%, maximal the non-attendance of the lecture is 20% or 6 meeting. So if you above 6 meeting, you are absent. Around 6 meetings, you will get E, the final score. So the non-attendance caused by your health problem, sickness, or other reason will be regarded as attendance. If there is a statement from the doctor or your parents or your guardian, you have to let this LK ITB know, inform the ITB. You have to somehow sign by your parents or guardian the letter. And also you have to report it to ITB Student Affairs or LK ITB, Lembaga Kemahasiswaan. So if the letter, your statement, the sickness statement, other than that doctor statement, must include complete data of parents or guardian. And you have to state, you have to write the name of the guardian and the phone number. Okay. The permission letter or sickness statement or sickness letter, you have to hand it to LTPB, and a copy to me as a lecturer. At most 1 week since the start of your absence. Is there any question about this class attendance? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, this number 1. So this number 2 about marking, about the scoring. So a student who failed in laboratory practicum will automatically fail in elementary physics lecture, and the final score will be E. Will be E. Okay. The final score completed below. We have AU1 itu it means angka ujian 1, second examination AU2, angka ujian 2. Third score is AU3 is angka ujian 3. So third examination, third test, usually is facultative. Yeah. So obligatory, you have to attend this first exam and the second exam. So if you take the first and the second exam, the computation of your score according to this formula. Okay. This 27.5% AU1, 27.5% AU2, 15% practicum score. Okay, and research assignment 10%, homework 10%, and others such as quiz and other assignment outside homework and research assignment. So this is usually coordinated by the lecturer. Okay, so the student, so second case, so the student who did not take the first examination caused by the sickness or permission letters. So this is the condition, should be admitted by guardian, parents, also admitted by student affairs, ITB student affairs. So, okay, so you are allowed to take the third exam, okay, and the final score will be, so the first examination is replaced by the score of the third exam, okay. Everything is the same as above, except this AU1 is replaced by AU3. Okay, so the third case, if you cannot attend the second exam, so you're also allowed, yeah, by to take the third exam. So your score in second exam will be replaced by the third exam. The percentage is the same, the weight. Okay. So the student, the fourth case, a student who did not take the first or second examination without any information such as sickness statement letters or permission letters. So which is admitted or signed by guardian or ITB student affairs. Will get 0 for the exam score. So AU1 and AU2 will be 0. Okay. So the index, yeah, you get A if above or equal 75 point. So AB is between 68 equal and 75. So B is between 60 and 68. BC between 55 and 60. Equal, below equal. So C 50 and 55. Okay. Below that, you will get D or E. Okay, if you get D, yeah, D or E, you can take the third exam. Okay, but maximal score you will get only C, even your final score is above 50. Okay, so the final score will be C. So this is if you get D, and if you get E, you could also take the third exam, But also the maximal point you will get, the final score will be 50. Is there any question about marking or scoring in this case or several cases? Any question?
Permission to ask, sir.
Yes, please.
For today's attendance, do we do it in SIX or?
I will call you by name. I will take.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So usually I will call your name to take your attendance, to checklist your attendance, usually, mostly, but sometimes in special case, I will let you know, all of you, if you have to sign it using 6, yeah, by self-attendance, something like that. You have to checklist your attendance by yourself. Okay, any question about this marking? Okay, no question? Okay. So, but the practicum, the practicum will be held offline or online, according to the schedule arranged by the physics department of elementary physics lab, by considering other practicum such as elementary physics practicum. Okay, and then there are 5 sessions of elementary physics practicum, or it is related to the module, the practicum module. And this practicum is obligatory for all students. So the first meeting about technical online practicum and some rules. So the first meeting will discuss about technical online practicum and some rules, some regulation. And then the first meeting will be held on 24th of January until 28th of January. Okay, you have to see, well, often you have to check often this website, LFD TBCID. So the first practicum will begin on 7 February this year. Okay, the minimum final score to pass elementary physics practicum is 50. Yeah? The practicum score is obtained from 4 practicum, 4 modules, although the number of practicum followed is less than 4 times. So it means that if you only attend 3 practicums instead of 4 practicums, so your final score will be divided by 4. Okay, so you have to you must attend all practicum, 4 modules, to get maximum score. Okay, so if you less than 4, it will be divided, the number of practicum will be divided by 4. Okay. So the complete rules and assessment procedure can be seen in practical modules, which will be given to the practical participants. Okay. The participant must pay attention to LFD notice board and LFD website. Questions and complaints are addressed to LFD coordinator via email lfd@fmipa.tbcid by including a clear subject, ID number, minimum your ID, student ID, name, and your phone number that can be contacted if needed. Participant in elementary physics 1, sorry, not basic, yeah, basic, okay, but better elementary physics 1 and 2 course, we repeat, please check or confirm the number of practicum you already passed, yeah. From previous year, yeah. Okay. So the practicum group will be announced by a lecturer and elementary physics laboratory. So you have to see often this LFD intimation. So all students must closely monitor the announcement of elementary physics laboratory on the elementary physics laboratory website. Sorry. Elementary physics laboratory website. Okay. Any question and complaint can be directed to head through email lab.fisikalasar.itb@gmail.com by writing clear subject, clear identity, name, and student's phone number. Any question about this practicum or experiments? Basics experiments. Anyone have a question? Okay, if not, let us continue. So, miscellaneous, all the explanation will only be held as scheduled. Okay. Homework and quizzes will arranged by each lecturer, okay, by me as a lecturer. Research assignment called RBL, research by learning, will be arranged by each lecturer under coordination of elementary physics coordinator. Every student expected to have elementary physics textbook. The textbook, okay, I will mention it later. The department will give the sanction for academic cheatings, which may lead failure in this lecture. In addition, ITB reserve the right to give further sanction when necessary. Inquiries, complaints about elementary physics lecture can be directed to first elementary physics coordinator through email mahardi@itb.id. By writing a clear subject, identity, name, and student ID, and the phone number. Okay, this is the name of elementary physics coordinator, Dr. Hani Mardika. Any question about this miscellaneous? Any question? No. Yeah, it's similar to the previous one for elementary physics 1, the regulation. Okay. No question about it? No question? Okay. Okay. Some additional rule, yeah. So before this class, is there any lecture before this class? Anyone? Before
yes, math class.
Math class, okay. What time?
7 to 9.
7 to 9, okay. So you have 1 hour, yeah, okay. So it should be, you must not be late, yeah. for the next lecture. Yeah. Okay. So we will start on Monday. Yeah, every Monday on 10 o'clock. Yeah. So because we are online lecture, so the tolerance of your delay is about 5 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah. So 10 or 5. Okay, the maximal delay of the lecture. So if you have good reasons, you have to tell me so I could approve you. Okay, in WhatsApp. Okay, in the WhatsApp class. Okay, not by personal WhatsApp. Yeah, you have to write it on WhatsApp class. Okay. So maximal delay, yeah, it's 5 minutes. Okay. So you have to pay attention about it. Okay. So next will be the course. Yeah, the course plan. So basically, we will discuss about this electric force and electric field this first week. Yeah. Okay, the second week, I will put it in Teams, yeah, and also in EduNext, yeah, and EduNext. Okay. In module 1, I think. Okay, this is the first week, second week. Okay. So in 8th week, yeah, we will have first examination or first exam on Saturday, March 9th, 2022. Oh yes, is anyone of you have a problem with the day of the examination for Saturday for religion matters or religion reason? Or anyone of you is Advent? Hello? Is there any objection about the day of the explanation? Is there any problem? Based
I don't
on...
think so, no, sir.
No, okay. So, okay. All of you, no problem. You have no problem with the day of discrimination, okay? If anyone, please raise your hand. So, okay, I think it's not there. Okay, good. Okay. So there's no problem if the examination day is Saturday. Okay. So in the 8th week, we will have examination on Saturday. Okay. So after that, we will discuss about alternating current, wave, and alternating waves. Okay. Mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves. And then after that, this final lecture at 14th week. In the 14th week, we will discuss about modern physics, about dualism, and yeah, it's about dualism property. And the final week, we will you have to collect your assignment of research by learning, RBL, research assignment. Okay, so we have the second examination on Wednesday and the third examination on 23rd, on Monday, 23rd May, 11th May and 23rd May. Any question about this course plan? Any question? Okay, if not, let us continue for the lecture. Just a moment. Okay. Any one of you can see this whiteboard about Newton's law of motions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So let us review this about Newton's mechanics. You have this course last semester, in the last semester. So basically, Newton's mechanics is about the dynamics of a particle. What is a particle? A particle is a thing. It's characteristics of things. Yeah, so things like a table or ball or everything have particle properties. Or wave properties. So particle and wave is a property, are properties. Okay. So in the Newton mechanics, we assume that the thing is a particle, is basically a particle, which is a point. So you see that this red line, this red curve here, this red curve here, is the path of a point particle, okay? And then this R here, we have an arrow above this R is a vector, position vector, the position vector, okay? And this 0 here is the origin, okay? So because the curve of the particle is one dimension, so the parameterization of this curve, it should have only one parameter, okay? And this parameter is time here, okay? So this is basically the Newton mechanics. It discusses about the dynamics of point particle. Okay, so the definition of the, for example, this position vector, this R here, we have from the origin to any point at the curve. Okay. So we have this displacement. Displacement is the difference between the final state, in this case, the final position here, R final, minus R factor initial. Okay, and the average velocity defined by delta R over delta T. Okay, is the average value of speed. The average speed, sorry, the average velocity, sorry. So if we take this delta t goes to 0, it means that we take that this situation or this event simultaneously, we take the limit delta t to 0. So we have this delta R factor over delta t. Okay, so we have this velocity. Okay, this exactly the velocity. So basically this is the derivative of, should be of R, factor R, okay, R factor. Okay, and then if we take further the difference between the velocity, the final velocity minus the initial velocity, we have delta V here over delta T, we get this average acceleration. Okay. Average acceleration. And then if we take this delta T goes to 0, we will have this acceleration as a function of time. And then this is also the derivative of V over T. This is a total derivative. Is there any question about it? So I have a question here. Why, mostly, as you know, you have studied or learned about physics since high school, right? Have you ever been, have you ever asked the teacher why we only discuss until acceleration? Is there, doesn't exist this, the change of the acceleration, or we take the acceleration to be a constant or something else? Is there any opinion on it? Hello? I want to know about your opinion about this. Why we only discuss in Newton's mechanics, we discuss usually until the acceleration. We do not discuss usually the change of the acceleration. Why? Why? The question is why. Anyone knows? Does anyone know? Hello? Test. Anyone?
Never thought of it, sir.
Yes? Sorry, can you repeat your answer?
Never thought of it, like never think of after acceleration, like
Okay.
change of acceleration.
So the change of acceleration, we call it jerk. The change of acceleration, we call it jerk. Yeah. This is called jerk. But usually we do not discuss this. Anyone knows why? The change of the jerk, yeah. We could also name it or define it. But it is not necessary we talk about this jerk or the change of the jerk or the change of the jerk or something like that. It is not necessary. The question is why? Usually we cannot discuss this matter or this subject. Okay, one of you talk about, you never thought about it. Anyone knows? Anyone have an opinion about this? Hello? Hello? So I will ask one of you, any one of you. Dia Dalila. Halo, Dia Dalila. Halo, Dia Dalila. Halo, Dia Dalila. Yeah. Can you answer the question? I need your opinion about it. Why? Hello? Why, Dia? Usually we do not discuss about the change of the acceleration in Newtonian mechanics. Hello? No answer. Well done, Akmal. Well done. Well done, Akmal. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. What is your opinion?
On what, sir?
You're not sure, okay. Marcellus. Marcellus.
Maybe because force is mass times acceleration.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, because the law, the Newton's law of motions, yeah, he defined Newton's defined the force to be F is proportional to the acceleration. Okay. So F equals to M is the mass times the acceleration. Okay, so because the force is proportional to the acceleration, we only discuss this dynamic quantity in this case until the acceleration, not the change of the acceleration. Okay, that's the point. Okay. Okay, as we know from this quantity, the above quantity, the particle say the particle is at rest if this position R here is constant. This means the constant is constant vector. Constant vector. So we have uniform motion if the v is constant. Okay, we have, for example, this the motion of straight line. Yeah. Okay. And then we have this constant acceleration motion. Yeah, this acceleration is constant. Okay. And this v here, this velocity is equal to this one. And then this r, the position is like this. Okay. Any questions? So this is only the review, okay? You can consider anything. So in Indonesia, we call it this GLBB, gerak lurus berubah beraturan. Jadi ini kasus khusus istilahnya. Special motion, who has a constant acceleration. So if we take the Newtonian dynamics, is this about the question why a particle can be moved? What is the source of the particle so that they can move, for example? Okay, so this is why we call this Newton's dynamics, the Newtonian dynamics. Okay, the above is about Newtonian kinematics. Okay. So as I mentioned before, this F, the Newtons define a force, force as the source why the particle can be moved, for example, the source of the motion of the particle. Okay, and this force here is proportional to acceleration. So the proportional means that we have this F equal a constant m, we call it quantity m, times a, a the acceleration. And I here, we call it the inertia mass. Okay. So there are some remarks about second Newton laws of motion. So first, it is not valid. Yeah? The Newton's law of motion fails for the massless particle. So why they fail for massless particle? Because if the massless particle have an acceleration, but the F here is still 0. Okay, the F here, the force vanishes, still vanishes. Okay, so it means it cannot fail it. Yeah, in the case of massless particle. Okay, for example, is there any massless particle in our universe? Yes, there is. Yeah? We call it photon. Photon is the particle properties of a light. Okay, so it is not valid. Yeah, in this case, the Newton's law of motion. The second case is M. Yeah, for M less than 0, it leads to the instability of the system. So it's this stability is related to so-called dynamical system. The Lyapunov stability, we call it Lyapunov stability. Okay. And yeah, it is not valid for M less than 0. Is there any particle that less than 0? Yes, there is. We call it phonon. Yeah? Phonon is a particle is related with the sounds waves. Okay. So this phonon have an effective mass, negative effective mass, if the temperature of the substance is around 0 Kelvin. We have the effective mass is less than 0 or negative. Okay. There is also, yeah. So that's why this M should be greater than 0. Okay, in order the system to be stable. Okay. So the mass here, Mi here, we call it the inertia mass. Yeah. So the other mass, we call it gravitational mass. So gravitational mass is responsible to gravitational, so-called gravitational interaction. So, so the gravitational mass can be viewed as the source of gravitational interaction. Okay. So this gravitational interaction is formulated in the Newton's law of gravitation, not in the Newton's law of motion. Okay. So basically, the difference between them, the gravitational mass and the inertial mass, the inertial mass is the mass which is introduced in the second Newton's law of motion, while this mg, this gravitational mass, is introduced by the Newton's law of gravitation. Okay. So, and it is related to the field strength of the gravitational field, yeah, field strength or the gravitational field E, yeah, which have the form like this. Okay. So, in general, according to this Eötvös experiment, yeah. Eötvös, I think it's Polish, yeah, Polish physicist, yeah, Polish physicist. He did the experiment using Cavendish scale, yeah, to probe this gravitational mass and inertial mass. Okay. He performed the experiment around 17 until 18th centuries. Yeah. And his result, something like, sorry. So what he get is that the difference delta M over M it's around 10 to the minus 8. Okay. So the recent experiment using lasers, they get delta M over M is 10 to the minus 12. Okay. So if you have 1 kilogram tofu, for example, this is the inertial mass, and the gravitational mass should be 1 kilogram tofu plus minus 10 to the minus 8 kilogram. Okay. So this the result is so small. I mean, the difference between them is so small. So somehow it is tempted by physicists, yeah, to claim that this should be the same. Okay, so that's why we call it this equivalence principle, that this gravitational mass is equals to inertial mass. Okay. This is called the equivalence principle. Okay. Is there any question about it? Any opinion? Hello? Any opinion about it? Okay, I will review our lecture in Bahasa Indonesia ya. Oke, jadi kita sekarang review tentang hukum Newton tentang gerak. Jadi tentang gerak itu ada kinematika. Kinematika itu adalah ilmu yang mempelajari tentang gerak. Dan asumsi yang diambil oleh Newton dalam hal ini itu adalah bahwa dalam kinematikanya itu adalah partikel titik. Ya, jadi partikel titik itu lintasannya satu dimensi dan dia diparametrisasi oleh satu parameter. Jadi kinematika itu apa? Itu kinematika tentang mempelajari gerak. Jadi mempelajari besaran-besaran gerak. Gitu. Jadi seperti ini contohnya misalkan ya, ini lintasan partikel, gitu ya, lintasan partikel yang ini, maaf, ingat kelihatan ya. Yang merah ini ya, ini lintasan partikel, ini adalah posisinya. Oke. Jadi R di sini adalah vektor posisi fungsi dari T. Gitu. Oke. Kemudian karena dia itu fungsi dari T, maka dia berubah. Jadi ada perubahan vektor posisi yang kita sebut namanya perpindahan. Itu adalah selisih posisi akhir dikurangi posisi awal. Jadi delta R, jadi delta itu selalu itu. Akhir dikurangi awal, akhir dikurangi awal. Oke? Nah, itu perpindahan. Jadi kecepatan rata-rata itu adalah delta R dibagi delta T. Yang ini. Yang ini. Jadi kalau saya ambil delta T-nya itu menuju 0 atau yang istilahnya delta T makin kecil ya, maka V di sini disebut namanya kecepatan sesaat. Jadi dia bisa kita nyatakan dengan turunan dari dr per dt. Begitu juga dengan percepatan. Percepatan itu rata-rata itu adalah delta V dibagi delta E, delta T. Dan percepatan sesaat itu adalah limit delta T menuju 0 itu sama dari delta V dibagi delta T. Jadi dV per dt. Jadi kalau dari sini bisa kita lihat bahwa kalau partikel itu diam, itu artinya posisinya itu konstan. Dengan kata lain, V-nya itu adalah 0, karena kalau saya turunkan terhadap T itu adalah 0, dr per dt-nya, karena R itu konstan. Terus ada yang disebut namanya gerak uniform, itu biasanya V-nya itu konstan. Ya, posisinya sebagai fungsi T itu dia linear, itu adalah V0 T ditambah R0. Ya. Yang ini. Uniform motion ini atau gerak uniform ini bisa kita sebut juga sebagai gerak lurus beraturan. Artinya kecepatan konstan. Kemudian kalau dia itu punya percepatan konstan, itu artinya bahwa gerak ini adalah gerak lurus sama gerak lurus berubah beraturan. Berubah beraturan itu karena perubahannya ada momentumnya, ada dia konstan. Oke? Jadi contohnya misalkan kalau dalam gerak konstan itu, A konstan itu artinya bahwa kalau saya integralkan itu artinya V-nya sebenarnya V0 ditambah A kali T. Sedangkan nanti kalau saya hitung R-nya, itu jadi seperti ini. Oke. Ada pertanyaan nggak untuk kasus ini? Ini sebetulnya gerak lurus berubah beraturan. Kemudian kita bahas juga tentang dinamika Newton. Dinamika Newton itu adalah penyebab bagaimana sebuah partikel atau benda itu bisa bergerak. Itu aja sebenarnya. Jadi intinya bahwa Newton itu dalam merumuskan persamaan gerak itu memperkenalkan yang namanya gaya F itu vektor. Dan gaya F di sini itu sebanding dengan percepatan gitu. Makanya kita membahasnya biasanya hanya sampai percepatan, tidak sampai perubahan dari percepatan atau jerk gitu. Atau perubahan dari jerk gitu. Kenapa? Karena gayanya itu dirumuskan melalui perubahan atau sebanding dengan percepatan. Oke. Jadi MI di sini, jadi F di sini aslinya full equation-nya persamaan penuh itu adalah MI kali A, di mana MI itu adalah massa inersia. Dan beberapa catatan bahwa MI di sini itu harus lebih besar dari 0. Kalau dia itu sama dengan 0, itu artinya saya punya F-nya itu 0, tapi percepatan tidak 0. Kenapa? Karena masanya 0. Nanti kalau Anda hitung juga, energi kinetiknya 0 juga. Aneh kan? Makanya hukum Newton itu sendiri itu tidak berlaku untuk partikel tak bermassa. Contoh partikel tak bermassa ada nggak di alam? Ada. Itu contohnya adalah foton. Partikel cahaya. Kemudian kalau dia itu lebih kecil dari 0, bisa nggak masanya? Ya itu nggak bisa, karena dia tidak stabil. Gitu. Stabil menurut dalam konteks sistem dinamik. Nah, ada nggak partikel yang masanya negatif? Nah, ini ada indikasi ya, penelitian beberapa tahun lalu. Jadi di sekitar suhu 0 Kelvin, gitu ya, itu ternyata diteliti fonon itu ternyata mempunyai efek dia kemungkinan bermassa negatif, gitu. Dan ternyata juga ini kemungkinan ada. Jadi artinya ini tidak istilahnya hukum Newton tidak berlaku. Jadi kalau masanya lebih besar dari 0 ya, kenapa? Karena itu kestabilan dalam fungsi Lyapunov. Nah, ada nggak massa lain selain massa inersia? Ada. Kita nyebutnya massa gravitasi. Jadi perbedaannya adalah massa gravitasi itu adalah massa yang diperkenalkan oleh hukum gravitasi Newton. Itu bedanya. Kalau dia itu massa inersia, itu adalah massa yang diperkenalkan oleh hukum 2 Newton tentang gerak. Itu berbeda. Apa ternyata sama. Dan itu dilakukan oleh eksperimenter oleh Advos ya. Ya, jadi ada disebut namanya ada prinsip ekivalensi bahwa MG itu sebenarnya MI. Jadi prinsip ekivalensi ini diuji itu oleh Advos ya, dengan menggunakan neraca Cavendish. Eksperimen ini dilakukan sekitar antara abad 17 sampai 18. Is there any question? Any question? So, Advos ini menghasilkan, walaupun dia melakukan sekitar abad 17-18, tapi ketelitian 148 ini sesuatu hal yang luar biasa gitu, eksperimennya gitu. Dan prinsip ekivalensi ini tuh masih dipakai sampai sekarang. Oke, ada pertanyaan nggak? Pertanyaan. Ada pertanyaan atau cukup jelas? Oke, kalau cukup jelas, saya stop dulu.